My name is Emily Johnson, and I grew up in the warm, busy city of Dallas, Texas. I never thought that one day I would have to recount a story so painful, yet so filled with lessons about trust, love, and the way betrayal can change your life forever. What I went through still shakes me, and even though years have passed, the emotions remain sharp in my heart. I met my husband, Michael, during my college years at the University of Texas. He was charming, kind, and deeply respectful. He wasn't the kind of man who showed off or tried to be the loudest in the room. Instead, he had this quiet confidence that drew me to him. We started dating, and by the time we graduated, I knew he was the person I wanted to spend my life with. We got married in a small church surrounded by friends and family, with smiles all around us and promises of a future filled with love. Our life together was simple but beautiful. Michael worked in finance, while I was a teacher at a local elementary school. We didn't have much in the early years, but we had each other, and that was enough. As the years passed, Michael's hard work paid off, and we moved into a nice home in a quiet neighborhood. Everything seemed perfect from the outside. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. The trouble began when two men entered our lives, men I thought were trustworthy. Their names were David and Anthony. Both were colleagues of Michael's, and over time, they became close family friends. We would often invite them over for dinner, celebrate birthdays together, and even go on weekend trips. They seemed loyal, kind, and respectful of our marriage. I never once doubted their intentions. One evening, Michael invited David and Anthony over for dinner at our home. We had prepared a big meal, and laughter filled the dining room. After dinner, while I was cleaning up, I overheard something that made my heart race. David and Anthony were talking quietly in the living room, unaware that I could hear them from the kitchen. Their words cut me like a knife. They were mocking my husband, making fun of his trusting nature, and laughing about how easy it was to gain our confidence. At first, I thought I had misunderstood. But then I heard David's voice clearly. Michael has no idea we're using his connections for our own deals. He thinks we're loyal to him, but really, he's just a stepping stone. I froze. My hands trembled, and I nearly dropped the dishes I was holding. They weren't just betraying Michael professionally. They were betraying him as friends, people he trusted like brothers. My chest tightened with anger and disbelief. Later that night, when Michael asked me if I was okay, I couldn't bring myself to tell him immediately. I didn't want to hurt him without being sure. But over the next few weeks, I started noticing more signs. David and Anthony would whisper together when they thought no one was watching. They avoided direct eye contact when certain topics came up. My instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong. Finally, the truth revealed itself in the most devastating way. Michael came home one evening, pale and shaken, holding a folder of documents. His company had discovered financial discrepancies tied to his department. Deals he thought were legitimate had been manipulated. And at the center of it all were David and Anthony. They had used his trust to advance themselves, leaving Michael to take the fall for their dishonesty. The betrayal was now undeniable. I could see the heartbreak in my husband's eyes as he realized that the men he trusted had deceived him. He looked at me with confusion, as though asking silently, "How could this happen? Why would they do this?" In that moment, I had to make a choice. I could stay silent about what I had overheard weeks earlier, or I could tell him everything. With tears streaming down my face, I told him the truth, that I had overheard them mocking him, but I wasn't brave enough to say it until now. Michael listened quietly, then took my hands in his. Instead of blaming me, he said softly, "You were trying to protect me." But Emily, the truth always comes out. Together, we decided to confront David and Anthony. We invited them over one last time, pretending everything was normal. When they arrived, Michael calmly laid out the evidence against them. Their faces turned pale, and they stumbled over excuses. But there was no way out. The betrayal was clear. Michael looked at them with a strength I admired deeply and said, "I trusted you like family." But trust, once broken, can never be repaired. After that confrontation, we cut all ties with them. Michael's company cleared his name once the investigation proved he was not involved in their schemes, but the emotional scars remained. It wasn't just about the financial damage. It was about the personal betrayal, the pain of realizing that people you open your heart to can use it against you. The experience taught us both powerful lessons. For me, it was a reminder that not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions. For Michael, it was proof that blind trust can be dangerous, even with people who seem like friends. But most importantly, it brought us closer together. Instead of letting betrayal break us, we used it to strengthen our marriage. We leaned on each other, rebuilt our trust, and promised to never let anyone come between us again. Today, when I look back, I no longer feel anger toward David and Anthony. I feel pity. Because in betraying us, they lost something far more valuable than business connections. They lost the chance to be part of a real, honest friendship. My story is not just about betrayal. It's about resilience, about choosing love over bitterness, and about standing by the person who truly matters when the world seems to crumble. If you are listening to this story, I want you to remember, betrayal can hurt deeply, but it also shows you who really stands by your side. And when you find that person, hold on tight because true loyalty is rare and it is worth everything.